Thank you, Kobe. I'm joined by Xpecial and Dominate after a must-win game there. You got it. You're guaranteed to play a tiebreaker either against Teammate or Gravity for a spot in the playoffs. But I do want to touch on this game real quick before we move on to that. The first point being the early Annie takeaway from Kiwi Kid. Was that pretty essential to the comp that you guys wanted to come in with?
I'd say Annie's a champion that I've been playing a lot this week, and I played yesterday. Sure didn't go so well, but Annie's one of those champions where you just go in, get initiate off, and you can just win a team fight. And what happened was we had Sejuani as well, so it made it really easy for us to have team fights. Either Dom initiates or I initiate, and then we can just follow up on each other and just kind of get a wombo combo in and do great things.
And then the next thing I want to touch on is this really interesting roam that you guys had at level 3 down to the bot lane. We see that stereotypical lane swap. We're pushing in. Level 3, we're going to dive. But instead, you guys show up, Annie, Hecarim, Sejuani, and turn that. Well, how planned out was this? One, is this something you guys have been playing with, the timings of that, or was that kind of a happenstance situation?
I think that's something that we kind of picked up from playing TSM and C9. They do a lot of like the same thing that we do, which is if it's not diveable or if you're freezing, you can send multiple people back to try to defend. I guess the only difference here was since Klaus got a bunch of like the early camps, we let him get an early camp by himself, but then he also got like the small ones, which give 20 gold now. He was able to buy boots, so we sent him a little bit in front of us, which kind of baited them into thinking that he was alone. And then as soon as they engaged on him, Xpecial and I were there to turn it, and we were able to get a first blood there and burn a lot of flashes.
Right, that definitely sets you guys up for the game. Now, looking at this game as a whole, you came in knowing it was a must-win. So what was the mindset and preparation like for this game, knowing that this is just to get your opportunity to make it to the playoffs?
This season has been really frustrating for us. We came in with really high hopes, and we haven't been doing so well, and it just looks like the pieces are falling into place, and we're running out of time as well. So yesterday's our loss was really bad for us because since both Teammate and Gravity lost yesterday as well, we were in a situation where if we had won, we'd be in the playoffs, 100% guaranteed. But since we lost, it put us into a do-or-die situation. And it was frustrating for us, but at the same time, it was again, do-or-die. So we have to just win. And honestly, if we can't win against these teams, we don't deserve to be in playoffs. So it was a must-win, but at the same time, if we don't win, then things aren't going the way we planned.
So it refocused you a bit. Now, going into today, all season long, you're preparing for one game each day, one team. You had to prepare for 3 teams because you don't even know which of the 2 teams that you're going to be playing later in the day. So Dom, with understanding that you've done some of that preparation throughout the week, but one night crunch time, there's 3 teams you have to play for. What was that preparation like? What are the key things that you guys look to break down so that you have them set in stone going into the next day?
We put most of our preparation on the Dignitas game because obviously if we don't win that one, the next ones don't matter. And what we have to our advantage here is we get to see these teams play in the next game right now. So we'll be watching that game intently and kind of finalizing our prep based off that. We did preliminary prep, just noticing what they play. For Gravity, they play like 80 different champions, so it's kind of difficult to like have a solid prep down for that. But we know how these teams play, and it's really just about playing the comps that we've practiced because we believe that they're strong, and just getting a good draft. If we get a good draft and we play the comps that we practice, I'm fairly confident that we should be able to do well as a team.
All right, now looking at that matchup, you guys are going to have the opportunity, as you stated, to watch it. Who are you looking at to come out of that matchup as the winner, just prediction-wise from the 2 of you?
It's hard to say. I mean, they've both been really wild cards. Nobody expected them to come out strong, and they're actually looking pretty good both. And I think Teammate would come out ahead, but I want Gravity to win so we don't have to beat them to get into playoffs.
There you go.
Yeah. I think Gravity's gonna win. I just think Gravity's such like a weird team that it's hard to like really predict or like get practice against. Because for example, like you play against all the same teams that are playing the Lissandra, Annie, and all these standard mid laners, and then you play against Gravity and it's like Rumble mid, Fizz mid, Urgot mid, just like random champions. Like they might go Taric mid next game, like you never know. So it's just kind of an awkward team, and I think that throws a lot of their opposing teams off guard because they're not able to really predict what's going to happen in the game. You don't really have that formula for, oh, he's going to power spike at this point. Whereas like Urgot, maybe he power spikes in the mid game as soon as he gets his Mura mana, but before that he seems kind of strong. So you don't really know when you have your opportunities to fight. Whereas versus teams like Team 8, they're a little bit weird too, but you have more of an idea of what opportunities you have. I mean, Oriana's a more standard champion. We've seen her for like years in LCS and competitive level play. So I think it's just easier to play against Team 8. So I hope Gravity wins, and I also think they'll win because I think they've been playing pretty strong lately.
All right, just a little bit of a non sequitur. We heard Kobe and Zyrene talking about it there as we were getting set up for the interview. Tank meta, who are you looking at? The both of you, so Dom probably focusing in on the jungle. Which tank do you think, aside from Sejuani, who's very clearly at the top of the tables, is works well being that high health, tanky front line, and especially I want your opinion as well on this.
Yeah, I think Sejuani, Zach, Nunu are all really solid champions. They've just probably been the most solid tanks all around. So then the buff to the tank meta kind of just made them a little bit better. And since they're already like the highest priority out of the tanks, it just gives them that extra edge that they needed to be a competitive pick. And then I also think Nautilus has a lot of potential. I mean, I saw him a little bit in Korea. Like, IM played him a couple times, and it looks fairly decent. They also buff Nautilus a lot with the Emax and stuff like that. So I think that Nautilus might be like another pick that you see maybe being flexed between jungle and support. So I think that there's like some potential for new junglers. I mean, you got Gragas in there too, but I'd say probably Sejuani, Nunu, and Zach are the top ones.
Right, and the tanks are even falling, as you mentioned, down to the support with Nautilus support and things like that. We saw Leona come out. So, as a support player, are you happy to see it trend that way and be like, do you enjoy being a tanky frontliner, or are you looking for that fun stuff like Annie?
Honestly, I think support has been really balanced in this past season. We see pretty much every single support being played. You see Annie, you see Lulu, you see those kind of AP storage supports. You still see Nami once in a while, you still see tank supports, and so it's really what your team comp needs and what your team needs and what you want to play. So I'm really happy with how things are, and basically more champions means supports need to have better champion pools and need to be able to play every champion at a decent level. And I like that. It's fun to play, Nautilus one game and then have to switch to Annie and then maybe go to Leona. There's very different play styles.
Yeah, well, this season itself has not disappointed in terms of unique champion picks. Well, gentlemen, I want to congratulate you again on that win. I know you've got some prep to do, and you got to get comfy to watch this next game that's coming up. So again, congratulations. We still have more league coming your way. When we come back, Gravity will take on Team 8 in a battle for a playoff spot, while the loser will face these guys in a tiebreaker later in the day. Stay with us.
We have to play tiebreaker. That's it.
And we don't go to Ramen Festival.
Oh yeah, if we win, we don't get a ramen festival.
No!
Oh my god.
Wait, what's Ramen Festival?
It's a festival with ramen.
Baiting Gamsu, or
That's a
Quas
bait!
rather, into this one. Perfectly done. Quas flies through. Initiation coming from Dignitas could be better. Quas right into the middle of the fight. Fears 4, and the back line's getting hit up.
We should split one bot. Okay.
Oh, you got it. Go.
Careful.
We're fighting.
Yeah, we're fighting. I'm just taking turn. I'm taking turn.
Shiberu, come, protect me.
Yeah. We can take turn on the next wave.
Great Iwishi.
Goes.
There he
no
goes.
Hecarim. That's a nice
charge
left
GP.
bounce. The party's on. Frozen Tomb goes out, dealing a lot of AoE damage to Dignitas. It's going to be Team Liquid taking down Team Dignitas.